What if it would take your courage in the face of danger to save a whole nation? Would you take that risk? You know, sometimes life will just carry you from where you are, fling you somewhere completely different, and you just look around like, God, I beg, waiting they happen like this. Who sent me come here? That's Queen Esther's story. Let's rewind to ancient Persia, a land dripping in gold and glory. If wealth had an address, it would be Susa. And the man in charge? King Xerxes. He ruled over 127 provinces, stretching from India to Ethiopia. He was enjoyment ambassador himself. In his third year of ruling, he threw a whole 180-day celebration to exhibit his wealth. 6 whole months just to show people how rich he was. At the end of that celebration, he threw another 7-day party for all the people, from the greatest to the least, who were in Susa. Golden plates and cups, marble floors, royal wine that flowed like pure water. The man was living a soft life on a national scale. Then one day, in the middle of this show-off, King Xerxes decided to flex small. He called for his queen, Vashti. As per say my babe fine, make everybody see her beauty. Tell the queen to come. Tell her to wear the royal crown. Basically, he wanted her to do a catwalk in front of his noblemen and military friends. Meanwhile, Queen Vashti was throwing a separate party for women inside King Xerxes' royal palace. But Queen Vashti said no. No drama, no long talk, just no. My people, kai, wahala don't start. The king's advisors panicked. If Queen Vashti can tell the king no, we are finished though. All the women in Persia will start disobeying their husbands. Before you could say jack, they advised the king to dethrone her. And just like that, Vashti was gone. But guess what? That one no opened the door for God to start his next divine move. Far away from the palace was one quiet Jewish girl, Esther, an orphan, raised by her cousin Mordecai, a good and God-fearing man. Esther was beautiful, but not in a loud way. Her beauty was soft, the kind that calms the air when she enters a room. Graceful, calm, gentle spirit. That kind of beauty that humbles even the mirror. Then one day, when the king's officials began their nationwide beauty contest for a new queen, they rounded up all the fine girls, the Miss Persias of every province. And that's how Esther found herself among them. She didn't apply, she didn't hustle, she was chosen. You see that thing God does, where He positions you quietly without you understanding what is happening? That was Esther's story. When she entered the palace, it became like Miss Persia beauty camp. 1 full year of beauty treatment, 6 months of oil rub, 6 months of perfume and spice therapy. My sisters, they were glowing at glass. They taught them how to walk, how to talk, how to sit. It was palace finishing school. But Esther, she didn't overdo it. She didn't compete. She just carried grace with quiet confidence. And boom, she found favor with Haggai, the eunuch in charge. The man said this girl gets sense. Right off, he started her beauty treatments, ordered special food, assigned her 7 personal maids from the palace, and he moved her and her maids to the best place in the house of the women. In all this, Esther didn't say anything about her family and racial background because Mordecai had told her not to. And when it was her turn to meet the king, she no wear 10 layers of gold. No loud makeup, just soft beauty, clean heart and peace. The king saw her and that was it. Game over. He said, this is the one. He fell madly in love with Esther. He crowned her queen and threw a party, Esther's banquet. He proclaimed the holiday for all the provinces and handed out gifts with royal generosity. And just like that, Esther became queen. That's how God's favor works. Quiet entry, Royal ending. Life went on. Mordecai, her cousin, was still working at the palace gate. One day, he overheard 2 guards planning to assassinate the king. Wahala. He told Esther. Esther told the king, and the matter was settled. They wrote Mordecai's name in the royal record book, but nobody said thank you. No reward, no medal, nothing. But see, that small forgotten record would later save a whole nation. If pride was a person and had a name, he would have been called Haman, the king's right-hand man. This man was full of himself, rich, powerful, and proud like a peacock. He liked respect too much. Everywhere he went, people had to bow. But Mordecai said, "Abeg, I only bow to God." Chai, that single refusal triggered premium wahala. Haman vexed. He said, "Not only Mordecai, I go finish his whole people." Just imagine. He went to the king. "There is one group of people who don't obey your laws. Let's get rid of them." And just like that, the king signed it without asking too many questions, even gave Haman a signet ring. A death warrant for all Jews. Government-approved genocide. When Mordecai heard the news, he tore his clothes and began to mourn. He sent message to Esther. "My daughter, please go to the king and beg for our lives." Esther was scared. At that time, you don't just stroll into the king's court like that. Even as a queen, if you went without being called, you could die unless he extended his golden scepter. Esther replied, cousin, you know the rule. I haven't seen him for 30 days. You know it's not that easy. If I go without being called, I feel die. Even me, where be the queen?" But Mordecai sent back one heavy line. "Don't think that because you live in the king's house, you are the one Jew who will get out of this alive. If you zip your mouth and stay silent for time like this, help and deliverance will arrive for the Jews from somewhere else. But you and your family will be wiped out." Who knows? Maybe you became queen for such a time as this. Chai, that line hit deep. Because sometimes God plants you in places you don't understand. A job, a position, a room, not for enjoyment, but for assignment. Esther took a deep breath and said, "Okay, tell everyone to fast and pray for 3 days. I'll do the same. After that, I'll go to the king. If I perish, I perish." Kai, faith with shoulder puzzle. That's courage. After the fast, Esther dressed up, full queen mode, royal robe and crown, and confidence glowing. She stepped into the court. Everybody froze. The king looked up, and at the sight of her, instead of anger, he smiled. Who go see fine woman in all her glory, con the anger? He stretched out the golden scepter, the sign of favor. "My queen, what do you want? Up to half my kingdom, I'll give it to you." But Esther no rush. She invited him and Haman to dinner. You see wisdom? When you know your husband's love language is enjoyment, strategy becomes easy. At the dinner, the king asked again, "What do you want?" She smiled. "Come again tomorrow." See wisdom. Sometimes, don't talk too soon. God's time is sweet per strategy. Haman left the palace that day happy, beaming, and then he saw Mordecai sitting at the king's gate, ignoring him. Haman was furious with Mordecai, but he held himself and went home. He got his friends together with his wife Zeresh and started bragging about how much money he had, his many sons, all the times the king had honored him, and his promotion to the highest position in the government. On top of all that, Queen Esther invited him to a private dinner she gave for the king, just the 3 of them. And she's invited him to another one tomorrow. But I can't enjoy any of it when I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. His wife Zeresh and all his friends said, "Build a gallows, 75 feet high. First thing in the morning, speak with the king, get him to order Mordecai hanged on it." Haman like that. He had the gallows built. My people, no be every advice person give you suppose take because some advice go land you for wahala. That night, the king couldn't sleep. Sleep just disappeared. So he told the servants, "Bring the royal records, read for me small." They opened the exact record where it said Mordecai once saved the king's life. The king shouted, "Wait, oh, did we reward that man?" They said, "No, sir." At that exact time, guess who entered the palace early in the morning? Haman, coming to ask for permission to hang Mordecai. The king asked him, "What should be done for a man the king wants to honor?" Haman smiled because he thought the king wanted to honor him.
"Ah, get one of the royal robe you have worn and one of the royal horses you have ridden. Then give the robe and the horse to one of the king's most noble princes. Have him robe the man the king especially wants to honor. Have him lead him on horseback through the city square, proclaiming before him, 'This is what is done for the man the king especially wants to honor.'"
The king said, "Excellent. Go and do exactly that for Mordecai." Chai! God of plot twist. The same man planning Mordecai's death was now his hype man. God's humor is sweet. When Haman went back home and told his wife Zeresh and all his friends everything that had happened to him, his knowledgeable friends who were there and his wife Zeresh said, "If this Mordecai is in fact a Jew, your bad luck has only begun. You don't stand a chance against him. You're as good as dead." That evening, Esther hosted another banquet. The king asked again, "What's your request, my queen?" This time, Esther dropped the bomb. "My king, please save my life and the lives of my people. We've been marked for death." The king was shocked. When? Where? Who did this? She turned and pointed. That man, Haman. Wahala burst. The king vexed and stormed out. When he came back, he met Haman kneeling by Esther's couch, begging. The king shouted, "Even in my own house, will you even molest the queen while I'm just around the corner?" That was it. When that word left the king's mouth, all the blood drained from Haman's face. Harbona, one of the eunuchs attending the king, spoke up. "Look over there. There's the gallows that Haman had built for Mordecai who saved the king's life. It's right next to Haman's house, 75 feet high." The king said, "Hang him on it." Haman was taken away and hanged on the same gallows he had built for Mordecai. Poetic justice, now God run am. When the tables turned, the king's law couldn't be cancelled, but he gave Esther and Mordecai permission to write a new one. The Jews can defend themselves. So when the set day came, tables turned. Those who planned to destroy them were destroyed instead. Mordecai got promoted, Esther's people were saved, and that's how the festival of Purim began, a celebration of divine reversal. Golden lesson from this gist. This story not be just Bible gist, it's a whole masterclass in destiny and timing. Sometimes you're not where you are because you are lucky. You are there because God planted you there for a purpose. Esther didn't fight for the crown. She didn't chase spotlight. She was chosen, but she used her position for destiny. So before you complain about where life dropped you, pause and ask, God, is this my such a time as this season? Because when it's God, even palace politics go bend to serve his plan. Chai. My people, have you been in a season of Esther? Tell me the lessons you've learned from this gist. And if this gist touched your spirit, drop a heart in the comments. And remember, when God writes your story, be ready to say, if I perish, I perish. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe so gist fit reach more people. Alright gist fam, till next gist. This na the Bible retold like you've never heard it before. Now here we dey. Bye bye.
Didn't chase the crown, didn't plan this place, but God had a reason, wrapped in grace. Say it with me.
God had a reason.
God had a reason.
When fear whispered, you're not enough.
God's hand said,
You're chosen. Your love.
Oh, for such a time as this, I am here, I am called. Even when I'm trembling,
I will tall.
He placed me here on purpose,
Not by mistake.
for such a time as this.
His glory awaits.
Oh, for such a time as this. Yeah, yeah. For such a time as this. Yeah. For such a time. Yeah. For such a time as this.
There was fear in her heart, but faith in her eyes. She said, if I perish, I perish. And she walked in light. The king stretched his hand, favor found her face. Heaven smiled down, what a beautiful place. Everybody say,
Favor found her.
Favor found her.
Everybody say favor found her.
Oh, I was planted not by chance. Even my pain is part of his plan. When I don't understand the twist, still I'll trust his hand in this. Cause who knows, who knows?
No.
Maybe I was born for this. Oh,
For such a time as this, I am here, I am called. Even when I'm trembling, I will stand tall. He placed me here on